not typically windborne. Lidar imagery adds a few additional challenges. Here's a hillshade image of the nebulous in New Mexico shown in the photo. They are irregular in shape, but distributed evenly across the landscape. For comparison, here's one of the mound prairies investigated by Seifert et al. Based on LiDAR, it seems pretty clear that this isn't a field of nebulous. Most early explorers assumed the mounds were man-made, and some of them were. Potsherds, baked hearths, charcoal, and post holes have been found in isolated mounds in Missouri and Arkansas, and artifacts were found in a mound on the Texas Gulf Coast. However, the vast majority of mounds that have been excavated show no sign of human occupation. No artifacts, no traces of fire, nothing but thicker soil. Scholars have also questioned why there are no mounds on floodplains, which indigenous people were known to occupy. And they also question what purpose these mounds might have served. The biggest challenge to anthropogenic theories, however, is that most scholars believe that there are far too many mounds to have been man-made. What does LiDAR bring to the debate? On the one hand, it identifies far more mounds than anyone previously thought, which supports the existing skepticism. On the other hand, LiDAR shows mounds juxtaposed to known archaeological sites. Mound clusters often resemble settlement patterns such as towns, hamlets, or individual farmsteads. They're typically found on flat arable land and or adjacent wetlands, logical locations for occupation. And finally, LiDAR undercuts a number of the other theories. If these mounds were man-made, why were they built? Some have suggested that they may have been raised garden areas, and in some places the mounds are more productive than surrounding land. In other places, however, they are less productive. Furthermore, the mounds seem much too small to significantly increase agricultural output, particularly given the amount of work required to build them. Others have proposed that they were house mounds that served as a base to raise huts out of the mud. In many cases, the mounds resemble settlement patterns like the homesteads shown on the 1691 map of a Caddo village. And in some areas, such as on the Gulf Coast, this might have made sense. In well-drained areas, however, the mounds seem a bit tall to simply serve this pragmatic purpose. The big challenge, of course, is justifying what may be several million house sites in the region. There have been various estimates, but recent scholarship suggests that the pre-contact Caddo population could have been as high as 250,000. Furthermore, it appears that their house sites were only occupied 20 to 40 years before the residents relocated. It's not clear why. Maybe huts were destroyed on the death of the owner. Maybe they fell down. Or maybe they had to shift locations as soils were depleted. In any case, those numbers imply that the Caddo could have been building 100,000 to 250,000 huts per century. If you further consider that some areas, like Fushmaline Creek, were occupied for 30 centuries, or that mound building in places like Watson Brake was taking place more than 50 centuries ago, it's plausible that there could have been millions of house mounds built in the region. In summary, LiDAR reveals a startling number of pimple mounds in this region. There are different typologies of mound clusters based on their topographic setting and the patterns they exhibit. Many of these clusters are adjacent to known archaeological or village sites, and they're fundamentally different than Mima mounds or prairie mounds in other parts of the country. Based on the research I've done, I believe that several typologies are the result of erosion, but others simply defy theories of natural origin. The implication is that there could be hundreds of thousands of man-made mounds primarily hidden under forest canopy in this part of the country. Rather than solving the mystery of the mounds, LiDAR may in fact have deepened it. However, it appears to have good potential for additional research. If you've made it this far in the presentation, thanks for your attention.